What's good? What's good? What's good?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully you can hear me now. Mason's here, so he might make a guest appearance. I was going to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse, but as I previously stated a few months ago, until I publish 20 books, I'm not talking about anything political. So unfortunately, I cannot discuss Kyle Rittenhouse today. Maybe in the future, if it's relevant, we'll do so. But I don't know. If you want to hear my opinions, you can hit me up personally, but other than that, I'm not discussing it. What I do want to discuss today is something else that I heard and something else that I saw, is someone offering a crash course on advertising. I've seen 5-day advertising courses, I've seen books on advertising, I've taken courses on advertising for Facebook, Instagram, Amazon ads, YouTube ads, all that great stuff. I've taken a lot of different advertising courses to the point that I wanted to start an advertising business, but here's why I did not start an advertising business. Advertising is bullshit. Why is advertising bullshit? You are never going to get all your money back. You're just not. What do I mean by that? People spend a great deal of money on ads. In fact, most of the people that you see making money off Amazon FBA, people making money off of Amazon KDP, even I would consider BookBub, BookBaby, promotions, paid reviews, all these things, they don't necessarily equate to sales. They equate to exposure. Let me tell you what happens every time I see a book ad. I like it, and I keep fucking scrolling. Because it does not matter whether you advertise the book or whether you made the book public to your Facebook or Instagram page. The same thing is going to continue happening, and that's simply that I don't have any interest in your book. I don't have any interest in your book. What may end up happening, put it down, is that you put forth more money, you put forth more time, joys of fatherhood. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. He's in a phase now where he's still not tall enough to reach everything he wants to reach. So he has like a stool and a chair that he like puts in front of whatever he's trying to reach and climbs on top of it. Okay. So what is really going on with people advertising, people making their money doing this? What is really happening? There is what I want to believe versus what is actually happening. What I want to believe is that people are advertising and they're making twice the money back, 3 times the money back, 5 times the money back. And I've just never seen it. I just haven't. I haven't seen it. Even when I take the advertising courses and I hear feedback upon the advertising, it's not a return on investment if you don't get, this is what the person said today, and I don't think they understood what the fuck they were talking about because most people are retarded, you know. They say shit, they don't actually understand what the fuck they're talking about. They say things, they don't actually understand what the hell they mean. So, when a person's asking if they want, people are interested in a crash course for advertising. First and foremost, I don't think that you can give a crash course on advertising. Advertising is an entire collegiate major, if I'm correct. Let me Google search that real quick and find out if I'm right or not. So yes, I was. I did the research. Advertising is an entire collegiate major. It's an entire collegiate graduate studies class. This is something that people are going to school for 4 to 8 years to master. And this isn't something that you're going to figure out in one afternoon. It's not something you're going to figure out in one advertisement. Even if you teach people how to advertise, you can teach them the ins and outs of everything. You cannot teach someone how to advertise a candle versus advertising a marker versus advertising a kid's toy or a new version of a card game or something, you know? And you're not just advertising, and advertising is the same for every single product. You're advertising guaranteedly to, even if you're advertising, you're able to teach everyone in one afternoon, in 1 week, in 1 year, in 4 years. You're able to teach them everything about advertising books. You're still going to have to advertise per book. You're still going to have to understand graphic design. You're still going to have to understand video editing and videography. It isn't just putting forth the right metrics into an advertisement and pushing it out there. I've had advertisements that I've like have not hit this. I think I spoke about this in the first couple of videos that I've made. I've had advertisements that have reached well over 180,000 people. It didn't return anything. It didn't give any sales. So I'm not talking about this from a standpoint of I know nothing about advertising and I think advertising is a scam. I'm talking about it from an experience perspective, someone who studies it as well. You're probably not going to get all your money back from your advertising. If you need at least $100 to do an Amazon ad. That's what they're talking about today, I believe. You need at least $100 to do an Amazon ad. That doesn't mean that you're going to get $100 back in sales. You know? You might get $100 in value of exposure, but this is the other reason why advertising is bullshit. Is that Facebook has already made its money, Instagram has already made its money, YouTube has already made its money, Amazon's already made its money. So there is no incentive. So first off, the biggest red flag should have been to begin with is that you can no longer build on these platforms and have a sustainable income or have an income to replace minimum wage because they've already made their money. There is no incentive to help the small people out. There's no incentive to help new people out. If you're like me and you're already a bestseller and you're advertising like crazy every month, every week, then yeah, you're going to find great success because you've already seen that your books are marketable. You've already seen that there are people out there ready to read your books, not just that it's marketable, that it has an appeal, but that people actually want to buy the product because once again, sales and marketing are not the same department. They're not the same thing. I don't think sales is a major, but I know for a fact that marketing and advertising are two completely different majors. They're very different skill sets. Well, you definitely have to take into account the market. You have to take into account value and niche when you're doing advertising. Advertising can also bring your product to a brand new audience that is completely outside of your market segment. Advertising can expand your market segment, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to bring you great sales. There's a lot of companies that don't do any advertising, and they make plenty of money. Why? Because their brand is very strong, because word of mouth is very strong, and because they make high quality. When you make high quality, great products, you don't need to market or advertise them because that's what people are seeking. People are seeking well-valued, high-quality products all day, every day. They don't need anything more than word of mouth or referral, which is basically the same thing, to let them know that your product is of real value. If you're at the point where you're building on social media, and the free service for these platforms is not enough, the paid service for these platforms isn't gonna be any better unless you have the expendable income. Unless you have the dollars and you have the ad spend put aside already, which how can I make that work for you? If you make 100% of your money, which you should, you should get your full paycheck back, no matter what you do. And I know some people have things that are taken out like before taxes or right after taxes that might shorten up their paycheck. You take that 5% to 10% of your income is a good enough budget to advertise your books off of, especially if your books aren't really making you that much money. If you want them to make you money, then as I've told you numerous times, you have to buy your own books, and then you're going to have to sell your own books yourself. You're going to have to be your own distributor. Distribution is what's going to get you money. Advertising makes other people money. Advertising gives you exposure. It might generate leads, hopefully, fingers crossed, but typically speaking, it just doesn't. It's going to push your books to a bigger audience than had seen it before. It's It's going to get you from 0 sales a month to maybe a few sales a month. But these are things that you want to achieve organically, more than likely. But it's just also just something from personal experience. Someone who knows how to do the right metrics. Someone who's had thousands of dollars to spend on advertisements. Who spent a lot of money on fucking ads. It just does not get you back what you want it to. And if anything, it really replaces the real work that gets you sales. It really replaces the things that are necessary to make you a good author. To kind of compensate for not having a good book, to compensate for not having your own audience, to compensate for not needing to be in this industry, quite honestly. Because, again, if the free service isn't working, the paid service is not going to do better. If the free service is going very well for you already, and you're getting a great response, you're getting great engagement, you're getting great interactions for free, then you can probably replicate equivalent success or utilize the paid advertising to continue on and to maintain what you're doing. What's going to happen if you do not have that already? What's going to happen is that you're going to spend way more money than you need to doing something completely unnecessary that you may not even be at the stage of your career where you need to do it. And you're going to get more angry and more frustrated because you spent $100, $150, $1,000 on advertising, because you spent hours on advertising classes and courses, and you're not getting back $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month like people are promising you. The people that I've always met that have been like, I make $10,000 a month doing this, I make $100,000 a month doing this, they spend about $9,000, $8,000 in ads. They legit have told me they spend, what is this number? It's $3,000. They spend $3,000. My bad. $100 a day minimum is what the man told me for $10,000 a month. So you're spending a third of your budget to get that return back. So he got multiples of that return, but what he also does in equivalent to that is that he doesn't advertise his products. He advertises his group. And then within the group, for free, he advertises his products, he advertises his courses, he advertises his services. But he spends the money towards growing a group, growing a platform, growing an email list, that there are levels to this shit, you know? And then over that time period, he makes $10,000 from growing the group and working within the group that he's already created, the niche group that he's already created, and then he still has to build these pocket communities around his niche. You know, it doesn't just come from spending money on advertising. You can only make money by spending money if you know what you're doing with the money. If you put a bunch of money, think about it like this. If you put a bunch of money in stocks without having done any market research into how well these companies do, without doing any research into the CEOs, the direction that the company is taking, if you don't look at the past 5 years, past 10 years of the company's finances, you can spend $100,000 in stocks and not only not make any money, but lose a shit ton of money. Seriously, you do the same thing with crypto or Forex or anything else. It's not just about knowing what you're doing. It's about needing the service to begin with. And a lot of people do not need advertising. You're not at a point where you need advertising. You're at a point where you need to say hi to 100,000 people and then see the results of that. Maybe not 100,000 people, maybe 100 people. Maybe say hi to 100 people every single day. And then that's going to beat out advertising. A lot of people don't want to learn how to do things properly, you know? It takes about $150,000 to make a one-hit wonder rap musician. That's rap. That's music. Music is way easier than books. It takes millions of dollars to make a movie. You're somewhere in between those two things for books. And you're already, it's just, I'm not against advertising. Again, I wanted to start an advertising business. The reason why I didn't start an advertising business is because advertising is not a panacea. There is no guarantee that an advertising campaign is going to make your client money. There is no guarantee that an advertising campaign is going to pay off its value. So to say that you're going to teach people advertising so they can have a higher return on investment, you're lying to them first and foremost, and you're basically just telling them, I just found a new way for you to spend money without either of us benefiting from it. It's retarded. It's really retarded. And it's for people that really aren't that talented to feel better about themselves, to feel better about what they're doing, to feel better about what they're creating, to push it out there to people that don't need their shit and don't want their shit. But now their shit's in front of your face, and because you spent money on it, now they think more highly of you because of it. It's all completely a fucking waste. It really is. Advertising is produced on these websites, to be completely honest with you, because they've already been making their money, and they make more money off of the advertising. They make money off of you needing to pay to get reach on their service. So the basic service that Facebook offered, that Instagram offered, that YouTube offered, that Amazon offered, that made these platforms what they are today, are no longer how they operate. You used to be able, I used to sell shit on Amazon. I sold shit on Amazon without advertising anything, without even putting any actual work into it. You just had to back in the day, you just had to post the item on the Amazon and it sold, because you didn't have people across the entire planet selling shit on Amazon. You know? This is 10 years ago. This is 10 years ago. Probably a little bit less than, I would say maybe, not like a clear-cut 10, but I would say about 8 to 9 years ago. You know, when I got my apartment, that was something that I was doing heavy. Like, as soon as I was leaving the dorms, that was something that I was doing heavy, because I had all these books for college and all these books for school and books in general that I was reading, and I was selling books on Amazon to make some mint. And you make some money off of it. You know, I make grocery money off of that shit, for real. Stop over to the post office, ship everything to the post for free. You know, I didn't have to pay shit for it. You know, I made some money off of it. Now, selling books, even selling bestsellers, selling books that really should be popular, you know, Amazon really just, it's just not what people think it is. There's too much competition. And that's the other thing, too. It's like you're only really advertising to get out there more than the competition is. You're not doing it because your book is better. You're doing it because your book is probably shittier, or it's just the fucking same as everybody else's, which makes readers not want to pick your book, because readers want a great experience. Readers don't want to waste their time in a bad book. That shit hurts your feelings. It hurts you two ways. It hurts you, especially if you know the person who wrote the shitty book, is that now you feel compelled to finish this book because someone you care about wrote it, but it's a shitty book, so you don't know what to say about it. And that's a lot of times why people don't leave a review, you know? People don't mind leaving a review when they had a greater negative experience. People have a hard time leaving a review when your book wasn't that good. They see you putting a lot of work and effort into it, and they're afraid to tell you that it was bad. I've been through that, but I've also been to the other side too, where you have great books that you don't really need to advertise. You know, I don't think I spent a lot of money in 2020. I don't think I spent the same amount of money in 2021. I did, low-key. Not the second half of 2021. I didn't have this perspective the first half of 2021. I was spending a shit ton of money on advertising, on promotions, because I thought it was going to make me more money. I thought this was going to get me out of the bricks. You know, I thought this was really going to help, but it really fucking doesn't. I spent like $45 on a promotion, for an Instagram promotion, and it did huge numbers. You know, I think it was 2 of them that they did, and they each did like huge numbers, like well over 70,000 views. It got 0 engagement. I got like 3 likes. I got more likes on my page than I got on the page that had 1 million followers, you know? And then when I scrolled through the page and actually paid attention to what was going on, there are a lot of people seeing this person's page. There's not really many people that like their content, because all they do is advertise random shit that nobody wants or needs because it makes money. You got to pay attention to this, guys. You can't just be lost in the fucking sauce. Like, if you're so desperate, get a fucking job. You know, if you're that desperate for money that you're willing to do anything and spend anything to see a fucking red cent return, get a real fucking job and work your real fucking job and relax, man. It's not that deep. It's not that big of a deal. But if you want to be a full-time author, you got to be an author. That's what James Patterson, Elizabeth Badenter, the most wealthy authors of all time. Advertising was their claim to fame, 100%. But they've been advertising on TV. Elizabeth Badenter owns an entire advertising company. You know, it's a science. It's mathematics. It's input output. If you put in a bad book to a $1,000 advertising campaign, it is not going to be pretty. Look at 50 Shades of Grey. Look at Hunger Games. You got an audience for those things because they advertised it, because they pushed it out there for you. It even got some movies. But you also have, or Twilight, you also have, because of the way that they marketed, because of the way that they pushed this thing, they advertised it to hell, you also have a lot of people that fucking hate it. That would have never known that these things existed had they grown organically within that person's lifetime. When you don't want to wait for success, when you don't want to wait for the results, you get a nice quick blurb. You feel good for a couple of days, and then it's just on to the next advertisement. And then you're stuck advertising. You're stuck spending this money to get basic fucking results because you didn't want to do the real work. More skills that you learn to make your books look better, to make better books, you're going to be far ahead of the game than the person spending more money than you. Don't think just because someone's spending more money than you that they're doing better than you are, because they're just not. It's just not how it works. So if you want to learn to advertise, I would suggest going to Stack Skills. I wouldn't go on YouTube because it's very hard to verify reliable advice on YouTube. It's very hard to verify whether or not people on YouTube know what they're talking about or not. Like this video. Unfortunately, but with that, I'm going to end it with that. And it's like, if you spend money on advertising and you make money off of it, let me know down below what you're doing. Let's have a conversation. Let's like fire this up. Because I'm not anti-advertising. You know, that's not it. You know, it's not the system of advertising or the study of advertising. I love advertising. I think it's great. I think it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing it. What I'm saying is that having fun, thinking something's great, thinking something's interesting, does not mean that it's going to make me a lot of fucking money, because it won't. I made great videos for people that really should have gotten more push that just fucking didn't. I got more views on TikTok than I got fucking paying for advertisements. Money isn't going to outpace hard work, because at the end of the day, you're throwing money at a problem that you need skills to solve. Money don't got skills. Money don't got people skills. Money don't got ability. All money can do is incentivize, but you're not incentivizing people to spend money. You got to have a product that they want. Having a product that people do not want is not going to become popular because you shove it in more people's faces. It just isn't.